Special presentation produced by VPN Foundation, Central Florida, benefiting art education for children.
Stacy, you need it on set in 2 minutes.
Be right there, darling. Oh, hello. I'm A-list celebrity and talk show host superstar Stacy Dennison. You may know me from such things as Mix and Mingle Season 1 or Blurry Shopper and She Did It for the Money.
That's not a thing.
Oh, that's right, it was Supermarket Slaughter.
That's not a thing either.
It is a thing, it's on IMDb, look it up. Well, anyway, join us for Season 2 as we mix and mingle with some of the Bay Area's best bartenders, and I take you on a roller coaster of a good time as your resident and craft cocktail connoisseur.
You mean you like to drink?
Well, yes, obviously. Why else are we here? Bon, I cannot work like this. These are amateurs. Where are my red M&Ms? Red M&Ms? Anyone listening to me? Anyway, on with the show. Hi, welcome to Mix and Mingle. I'm your host, Stacy Dennison, and thank you for joining us for our big Tiki Party Season 2 finale. We have John Mulder with us tonight, who's going to be making delicious tiki drinks. He is an artist and the owner of Eekum Bookum Custom Tiki Mugs in St. Pete. So welcome, John.
Thanks thank you so much. Yeah, that's great to be here. Thanks.
So you are an expert in the tiki culture, if you will.
I'm your local expert for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about these drinks that you're going to be making because half the ingredients I didn't even know about that they existed before you sent over the recipes. So tell us a little bit about these exotic ingredients you're going to be making.
Well, there's a lot of things, you know, obviously tiki drinks are mostly based on rum, but there's also a lot of tropical fruits and simple syrups, complexity of flavors that we're going to do. So we're going to play with a couple of a dram tonight. We're going to play with a flarenum and an orgeat.
Now, for those of us like myself, which didn't know until I visited the Google machine.
Of course.
What is dram, flarenum, and orgeat?
Well, we're doing an all-spice dram tonight. It's a dram was an old term for using alcohol to extract kind of like flavors out of herbal medicines back in the day.
Okay,
so
interesting.
Now we use it to extract the flavors, in this case, of allspice and cinnamon. And so it's an overproofed spiced rum where I've infused it with allspice and cinnamon, and it gives a real punchy, spicy flavor.
Got it. Okay.
Orgeat originally was a French invention. It was emulsified almonds, and they'd use it in place of milk.
Interesting.
So now we mix kind of emulsified sugar and almond extract and things like that to have a real kind of like nutty, sweet flavor. It's used in traditionally in Mai Tais, which you're going to make tonight, right?
I am, yeah.
So, and then we're going to make a flarenum. I based all my drinks around flarenum tonight. Flarenum is a simple syrup, which is 2 parts sugar, 1 part water, but this one is infused with ginger, star anise, which is kind of a licorice flavor, cinnamon, ginger, and lime. I said ginger twice because it's important. So
that's what happens on live TV, you know,
right.
Just repeat yourself.
That's exactly right. So all our drinks tonight have flarenum, and all mine do. So.
Okay, excellent. So what's the first drink you're going to be showing us how to make?
Well, Jan and I first went to a tiki bar. This was probably 10 or 15 years ago, called Thatch, and it was the first time I'd ran into flarenum, and the drink was called a Marquez and Baby Eater. So
that is some name.
Yeah, well, they had 3 columns. They were tikis carved on a Marquesan style. It's one of the Polynesian islands, and it was based on the legend of the Baby Eater or the Cannibal, and this was their signature drink, and it was the first time I'd ever had it, and it was like one of those times where you're like, oh my gosh, what is this flavor? And the bartender was like, well, it's flarenum, and we make it. So I immediately went home and Googled it, and over the course of a few years, I kind of perfected my own flarenum from drinking that one. So this,
you gotta taste it and recreate your own.
You're like, what is in this
Lots
crazy
of sampling.
stuff? Yeah. You know, and on the internet, there's always 10,000 different opinions,
definitely,
so
yeah.
you always have to make your own. But I think I came up with the perfect blend, and I love it.
All right. Well, I'll be the judge of that.
All right, we'll see.
So go ahead and
All right, let's make it.
Let's do it.
So this is. Let's get ice up a couple of cups.
Okay.
I always make my drinks in a pint glass, and usually I use a Boston shaker, and it allows me to mix my drinks well.
Okay.
So we're gonna mix 2 drinks for me and you in this little one right here.
All right.
So I'm gonna use a blended rum. I'm gonna use Appleton tonight.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use 1.5 ounces Appleton in here. And I pour a little heavy. I don't go too heavy. Everybody thinks that a good cocktail has a ton of booze in it, but measuring is #1 in the list.
Yes, as long as you, we have a term here on Mix and Mingle that was coined this season, and it's called schmounces.
Yeah, is that right?
And yeah, so that's when you have a little bit of a heavy pour. It's not, you're trying to measure, but if it spills a little extra drop, it's okay.
I always think that a good balanced drink and a repeatable drink, like you go to your favorite bar and you're like, make me my favorite drink, and the bartender knows you. And making that consistent, repeatable drink is important, and measuring is totally important.
Definitely. I always measure mine.
So I'm the same way. Everybody's like, well, just pour it in, and I'm like, it won't be the same. It won't be as awesome. So I'm going to use pineapple juice in this case, and I'm gonna go ahead and do equal parts pineapple juice and rum.
Okay.
And then I'm going to use lime juice. A friend of mine says that you should have 1 ounce of lime juice or 1 ounce of citrus for every 1 ounce of rum, but I like a little more rum than lime juice. So
now, while you're saying rum a lot, I do have to give a shout out to our sponsor, Code Rum.
Yeah, of course.
The maker of delicious rums in Florida. Thank you, Code Rum, for being our sponsor. Keep to the code.
I love it. Now, pomegranate juice, this is the blood of the cannibal. We'll use, now if you don't have pomegranate juice, go out and buy some, I guess. Or you can use cranberry. And of course, all of our drinks tonight have falernum in them. So, like I said, I made this falernum, and you have the recipe. I gave it to you.
Yes, and they have the recipe too.
Yeah, for sure. You can buy falernum. You know, there's a place called Maggie's Farm that makes an amazing falernum.
Okay.
And I'm going to do a little less than that, about half of a pour on that.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a good stir, and that. Now, the original recipe called for a 151 topper, which is kind of over the top for me.
Yeah.
It's a little too much booze. So sometimes, just to give it that kind of like chocolate note or coffee note, I'll put a topper of a dark Jamaican rum. In this case, I'm going to use Myers. I like Myers. Gosling's a good dark rum as well. And but it will just give it that slight kind of like sweet coffee flavor.
Okay.
And then every drink should have a garnish. If you go to a good tiki bar, garnish is very, very important. And in this case, I'm just going to use lime. I'm going to use lime, a fresh lime and a twist of lime in it to brighten it up, give it a good flavor. And then this cocktail is ready to serve.
All right.
I'm excited. This is my first one of the night.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. That's good.
Can you taste the falernum in it?
I can, yeah.
Kind of a little bit of a licorice, a little bit of a ginger afternote.
It's very good.
It's that interesting, those like I said, complexity of flavor. You're like, what is going on in there?
You can definitely tell the complexity of flavors in it. It's not just, you know, what you would get at your, you know, local dive bar where it's just fruit juice and rum. Like, you taste all the flavors in this. It's delicious.
Sometimes less is more, but sometimes more is awesome. You know, for sure. It's got a good nose too. Another thing, you know, we always think about like fresh mint and all those things, where you smell it with your nose and then drink it with your lips. You know, fabulous.
Smell really does make a difference with what you're drinking or tasting.
Is this where we like shoot it and go on?
No, we're going to sip it along the way. I mean, you can shoot it, but I'm going to savor mine. So for the second drink you're going to be making, it's a Saturn. Saturn, right? Okay, like the station wagon Saturn? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, they went out of business.
They did.
Unfortunately.
R.I.P. Saturn Car Company.
Yeah, rest in peace. The next drink is going to be a Saturn, and it's a gin-based drink. I drink a lot of gin. You know, every alcohol's affect different people in different ways. So, like I'll drink a beer and I'll be like, I love you, Stacy. You know, that kind of deal. I'll drink tequila and I'll be like, all of a sudden we need to fight. Rum I get a little slurry on, but gin I put on the goofy suit. So like when I say the goofy suit, I mean I drink gin and I can talk smack all night long.
I think our producer would agree that I get the same way when I drink gin.
I
put on the
love
goofy suit.
The goofy suit is awesome. So it is a gin-based drink, which is very, very unusual in tiki
drinks,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's almost unheard of. There are a few drinks. There's one called the Zombie, which is a classic drink that has gin in it, but it's kind of the Long Island iced tea of tiki drinks. It's got gin and everything else in it, you know.
Isn't there usually like a limit to how many you can order?
You're like only one zombie or two zombies per customer. So I've got the body weight to handle it though, so it doesn't bother me, folks. So we're gonna do it. So we're gonna start with gin. In this case, you know, I like a good mid-shelf drink, gin. I drink a lot of Beefeaters. There's a lot of really great gins on the market. We're going to be mixing it with a lot of like lime juice and things, or lemon juice in this case, matter of fact, which is also unusual. So Beefeaters is okay. You don't have to have super high-end gin. A good mid-shelf gin will do, because we're going to put a bunch of flavors into it.
Okay, I like that. Something affordable.
Yeah. So when I say mid-shelf or not a lot of flavors, I'm going to put gin. So we're going to go gin-based drink here.
Okay.
Now it's supposed to have a Flarenum, of course. So I'm going to pour about a half a pour of Flarenum in there.
Okay.
Now we're going orge in this as well.
Orge,
so it's gonna sweeten it up. And I've got kind of a bar-made orge. There's a lot of orges, and if your local liquor store doesn't have orge, just go, hey, we want orge, and they'll order for you. It's no problem. I just had my local place order this for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, they're like, well, we have these tiny little bottles, and I'm like, we're professionals, so I need the full one. So once again, a half a pour. Now the original recipe called for a passion fruit simple syrup, and which is a simple syrup, 2 parts sugar, 1 part sugar, and then like a passion fruit puree. But like I said, I like to drink alcohol, so I've gone in for a passion fruit vodka. Now the passion fruit vodka, people make fun of flavored vodkas, but in this case, I'm using the flavor.
Sometimes they come in handy,
yeah. For sure. Yeah. So, and it has a real kind of punchy passion fruit flavor. Okay. I'm going to go for a full pour on this. What the heck?
Schmelzes.
So, like I said, this drink is supposed to be a lemon-based drink, which is unusual. It doesn't happen very often. So it's going to be our you know what in here? And
now with the gin, it probably meshes well, though. Kind of balances it out.
It's that sweet and sour. So you have the sweetness of the orge and the sweetness of the Flarenum, and then that's offset with the kind of spicy and junipery of the gin, and then the tartness of the lime juice or the lemon juice, and that's basically the drink. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir. Okay. And we're going to pour it. And of course, I've made a garnish for it. And because it's called the Saturn, I made a beautiful kind of space. Yeah, space age-y looking Saturn.
Right on.
Drink. Cover. So. Yeah, you know, you can really wowzify your friends.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, welcome to our fabulous bar.
Has the Saturn ring. I like it. I remember that from a book report I did in the 4th grade on Saturn.
Right? I'm not even sure. Is that the 6th planet?
I don't remember.
We'll look it up later.
That's what Google's for.
That's exactly right. Good luck.
Ooh.
Now, you wouldn't expect this from a gin drink, right?
I wouldn't, no. The passion fruit, you can really taste.
Really pulls it through, right?
Yeah. It's a nice aftertaste.
I can drink these all night long. We end up at like tiki events, and at every tiki event they have room parties and room crawls, they call them. And everyone makes their own home cocktail, and we've won best cocktail with this drink right now.
Well,
So.
you just took one of my questions
Oh my
away
gosh.
from
Well,
Mingle
don't worry.
section.
I'll answer it again later. I'll have forgotten by then, don't worry.
Well, speaking of Mingle, how about we go ahead and pick a drink and pour them into these beautiful tiki mugs that you not only brought but made. They're
All right.
lovely.
Sounds good.
And I don't know which one. I think I will choose the first drink as mine.
I'm going to go for this Saturday.
Because, like I said, my producer thinks gin makes me goofy.
Oh, no. We don't. Not until the end of the show, mister.
All right. Lovely.
Would you like a straw for your
I
glass?
would,
I actually
yeah.
brought straws. Whenever you drink out of tiki mugs, straws are paramount.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm going to leave my fabulous garnish behind.
Did I? No.
No, it's okay.
Oh, that
Don't
was for
worry
that
about it.
drink. I didn't want to upset the garnishes.
Unfortunate.
All right, let's go to the
All right,
lounge.
let's go. You're drinking from a rum barrel, by the way.
I love it. I really do. I'm going to talk about it. Oh, yeah, they can see it. So on the front is Eekum Bookum, which is the name of John's company. And then there's a cute little...
Bunghole.
Which is what it's called, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just a silly word. It's actually cork, he was telling me.
That is true.
It's awesome. I love it.
You don't want to lose it in the dishwasher. It doesn't hold as much booze.
So I was going to ask, like, is there any special instructions for taking care of tiki mugs?
No,
or?
we do high fire stoneware. They call it mid-range. We call it high fire, but it's basically stoneware. So it's built. I always tease that it's built Mulder tough, but it's built Mulder tough. You can throw it in the dishwasher and drop it on the floor. You can drop it. It may break, but it's less likely to break than just like your regular.
That's good to know.
Teapot or something. They're built pretty hard, yeah. So.
All right, so if I break it right now,
Tonight's the night. No, you break it, you buy it. No, it's not true.
Right. So John, tell me, for our viewers who don't know, you did used to be in the military.
I did a life in the military. I was in the Army. I loved it.
How did you go from military man to artist?
I'd always been an artist. My mother was an artist. My grandmother was an artist, and I'd always made art. I always kind of like identified myself as an artist. You know, I think that I always knew that I'd grow up and be an artist, and so it's just who I am. And now I went in the military as a circumstance, and it was an awesome part of my life. I spent, most of my adult life in the military, and I loved it. But I made art the whole time I was in the military. I've always been a part of the local art associations and had an art studio and showed in galleries and things like that. So.
Now, you mentioned people in your family were into art too. Did they also do sculpture and painting like you, or? My
mother and my grandmothers mostly just paint and drew. I went back to college, and I'd started, in the military. Kind of a way to reconnect with my mother. 3,000 miles away. I used to hand sculpt heads, hands, and feet for dolls, and I would send them out to my mother, and she would make the armatures and the clothing, and we'd do Santa Clauses mostly, just as a way to connect with my mother. And when I went back to college, everyone takes sculpture, and I did really well in sculpture, and I made tiki mugs for the first time.
And look where it's gotten you.
That's been awesome. It's been great.
So that was actually leading into my next question is, so with starting out with the tiki mugs, what kind of got you into that? Were you always into the tiki culture, or was
I think it
just
started out as
that...
a collection. My mother was a crazy collector. I'm a crazy collector. And Janet, my wife, and I lived in Virginia. This was mid-90s or something, and we'd gone to a local thrift store with junkies, And there was a tiki mug on the shelf. It was like $1, and it was a Paul Marshall product, peanut mug they call them. And I bought it. It was like $1, and I took it home, and like a week later, there was another one at a bar, not at a bar, but another thrift store, and then I had 3. Once you have 3, it's just on.
It's a collection.
Yeah, and we have almost 1,000, probably 1,000 tiki mugs now. So
that's amazing.
It's nuts, yeah, totally.
Do you have a favorite out of all of them, or at this point, do you kind of forget what you?
No, It's funny because like we have a lot of mugs, and so sometimes I'll arrange them on shelves by types. Like you have a rum barrel, I probably have 50 different rum barrels from different.
Wow.
So I'll have all my rum barrels in one spot, and I'll have all my coups in one spot. Coup, this is a coup. It's one of the Hawaiian's gods. Sometimes I'll have all of them by the bar, like the Islander from Stockton and the Mai Kai from Fort Lauderdale, and I'll arrange them like that. And then sometimes I'll have like all my orange ones and all my green ones and blue ones.
So you can almost change them by season, like.
It drives my poor wife nuts.
You're like, you know what? I feel like displaying rum barrels this month.
Well, we have them all out, so it's like you know. So as we go through them, but I do have a couple of favorites. There's ones I'm always looking for, you know, kind of thing. There was a place called the Aku Aku, which was a tiki bar in the Starlight Lounge in Las Vegas. It's defunct now, it's gone. But it was a classic mohai, which is in an Easter Island, kind of like what everybody thinks of Easter Island has. But it was a big square one with a lid with 2 straw holes.
Oh, that's cool.
I love it, so that's kind of one of my favorites for sure.
Okay. Do you and your wife drink out of it milkshake style, like, you know, the old 50s, like, yeah?
I always tease because we make a lot of lidded mugs. I feel like I'm almost the king of lidded mugs at this point. But I always put 2 straw holes in, and everybody thinks it's there for 2 deals. But like I said, garnishment is so important.
Yes.
So you got to have one for your straw, then one for your flaming accoutrement of orchids and mint, you know. So that's what I put on.
Getting really fancy with your orchids.
You know, if you go and buy a Mai Tai at a bar, they'll have a fresh orchid in it.
Or at least they should.
They should. Yeah, a good one.
So
I had one today at the bar today. It did not have one.
oh man.
We're working on them.
Use that for the one I'll be making.
Fabulous.
Because I wasn't prepared with my orchid for my tie.
I stopped at Publix and they didn't have any in the fresh produce section.
Publix.
I know. Work harder.
You always
Publix.
have everything.
I love that, man. Shopping's a pleasure.
It is. So Publix is not a sponsor, but they should be.
I love them anyway.
So the name of your company, Eekum Bookum, is there a story behind the name?
You know, like I said, we started collecting tiki mugs in the 90s. We were playing a lot of Nintendo 64. Who wasn't?
Exactly, especially in the 90s.
Oh my gosh, that was the best game system. So there was a game called Banjo-Kazooie. It was like a bear that had gone through this world, and the bad guy was a witch doctor, and whenever you got to the end of a level, you had to beat the bad guy, and so things would go wrong, and he would come out screaming Eekum Bookum, and like the lightning would go off. So it was like just kind of a cliche thing that we would say whenever we would find tiki mugs at the thrift store, the antique shops. And so when it was time to name the company, Janice just came up with the name.
Naturally.
Yeah. So it's funny now because everybody is like, how do you spell that? And I first of all, I don't know how to spell. So I would have come up with a kind of like a AAA tiki mugs name for the Google search, but I love it.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. So do you have a favorite tiki mug that you've made?
We've made. It's funny because we had a bar at our last home. We owned a large building, an old 1930s ice house in Alabama, and we had like a 800 square foot tiki bar in that place.
Wow!
And I built all these huge shelves behind the bar with the aspiration of putting all my tiki mugs up, but in the end we could only put the tiki mugs that we'd already made of our own.
Okay.
Which was, once you get them up, you're like, oh wow, we have really done a lot of tiki mugs. So I think there's a few that I'm proud of for sure. So like we made a Marquez and Bar Baby Eater for the Hukilau, which is a Florida-based event. We've done a shrunken head with a Shriner's hat on, which I'm really proud of. You know, there's a number of them. So each one is, and when you make art, you're fascinated with the thing that you're making right now. Yes. And then you're on to the next thing. So it's always that way.
Living with an artist, I know how that is.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you create custom mugs too. Are there any that stand out, any custom orders that were unique? Or if someone wanted to order a custom mug, how would they do that?
Give me a call. I think every mug, like we're going, right now, we're making. We have like 5 or 7 mugs in process right now. We're doing everything from, I like classic tiki. This is classic tiki, just kind of like old school, real kind of Polynesian art, right? But tiki culture is really based in kitschy culture from the 30s and 40s and 50s. It's really not from Hawaii. Everybody's like, you go to Hawaii, get some tiki mugs. But the truth is that it was really a mainland deal. It was an escapism for us on the mainland. We created these little worlds, and it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Polynesian culture per se, just kind of the escapism of the South Pacific and alcohol and the art of that kind of spot. So we do a lot of art just kind of based on those things. Tiki culture is really kind of coming back. It's awesome and unfortunate because now I can't go to the thrift store and find a tiki mug for $1. They're like, they're $5, and I'm like, I want it for $1. You know what I mean? But it's great for us because the business is awesome, and we go to all these cities and do all these tiki events and tiki bars. We have just in the next 2 months, we probably have 5 or 7 tiki bars that we have to go to for their anniversaries, and we go up and we make their anniversary mugs based on whatever they want.
That's
We're doing
awesome.
a shark one and all types of things. So super fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So thank you for filling me in on tiki culture, because for those of our viewers that watched the promo this week, I knew absolutely nothing. So thank you for filling me in on that.
Sure.
I also came up with a little game.
Let's do it.
Since you're big into tiki drinks, and there are some that, people like myself would confuse as being a tiki drink, but they're not necessarily. They're more a tropical drink that maybe, you just put the two together and they're not, So, the name of the game is Tiki, No Tiki.
Okay.
So,
Like
I'm...
K-N-O-O-W.
No.
No?
And
Okay.
no.
Well, okay. I did my best.
I guess I should say tiki or no tiki. Let me put an or in there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read off a list of drinks.
There we go.
And you have to tell me tiki or no tiki, meaning tiki means they were born in a tiki bar.
Okay.
No tiki obviously is just a tropical drink
Just
that
a
people
tropical drink.
confuse for a tiki drink.
Okay.
All right, first one. You actually mentioned this earlier, so this is going to be an easy one for you. Zombie.
The Zombie is a classic beach Don the Beachcomber's drink. Yeah, built originally made in the 1930s. So.
So tiki. The answer is tiki.
Absolutely, very, very tiki. Yeah.
The words are tiki or no tiki.
All right.
All right. Painkiller.
Painkiller, absolutely. Invented in the Caribbean on Joost van Dyke.
Okay.
So fabulous drink. But it's still a classic on any tiki menu for sure.
Yes. Navy grog.
Navy grog, tiki drink for sure, absolutely.
Dark and stormy.
Dark and stormy, a must-have, yeah. Which is
That actually came up as a not.
That's not true. It's funny because it's kind of the Moscow Mule of the tiki bar.
It is, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Pina colada.
A non-tiki drink. I'm not a frozen drink drinker. The Saturn that we're drinking originally was a blended drink, but I get brain freeze too easily. So I like Rum Runner, another one, not necessarily a tiki drink, but I love it because it's a classic Florida drink. But typically frozen, I'm not into it.
Yeah, so. I would agree with you there.
Pina colada, no.
Mai Tai.
Mai Tai, #1 on the list of tiki drinks for sure.
Sidewinder's Fang.
Now it is a tiki drink. They do make a Cobra's Fang, which is a classic tiki drink, and I would think a Sidewinder Fang would be a take on that. I'd say Cobra Fang would be a tiki drink, a Sidewinder Fang. No. What did it come up with?
It's a tiki.
Yeah,
it's
is that right?
tiki.
Probably
yeah,
a take
I
on
don't
Cobra's
remember
Fang.
what it is exactly, but it's a tiki. Singapore Sling.
It's another gin-based drink. I drink them, and they are on. It's funny because tiki bars are kind of commingled with Chinese food restaurants. A classic tiki bar will have Cantonese-style food. So Singapore Sling on the list for sure. Does it say no in here?
It's a non-tiki.
I will
Although
tell you.
they're served at tiki bars, it was
sure.
not born.
Is that right?
At a
Yeah,
tiki
probably
bar.
not. Because it's gin.
Missionary's Downfall.
I love that drink for sure. Yeah, that's a tiki drink for sure. It's a mint-based drink.
And the last one, the Jungle Bird.
Name of a bar in Sacramento. Brand new, beautiful. Yeah, but not
But
a tiki
not
drink.
a tiki.
No. Yeah. You know, they call those. Gosh, there's a couple of names for because the Jungle Bird in Sacramento, beautiful place. You know, they do have tikis, but it's mostly floral print and wicker and that kind of stuff. So, you know, they have kind of a name for that. It's like I'm trying to think of the name, but it's it's not a non-traditional tiki bar. You know, so, but not a tiki drink. Singapore swing. I'm not sure.
All right, you win this round. All right, cheers.
Cha-ching.
So we have one more drink that you're gonna make.
It's the most complicated of all of them. It's called a 3 dots and a dash.
All right, let's go do it.
Let's do it. I love my... All right, so the 3 dots and a dash. Pour off my stuff here. I'm gonna have to pull up a couple of different glasses here.
All right.
So the 3 dots and a dash is named after the 3 dots and a dash, which is the term for the Morse code for victory after World War II.
Oh, interesting.
It was developed by Don the Beachcomber, who was really kind of the forefather of tiki drinks. Trader Vic Bergeron came afterwards, but Don the Beachcomber was kind of the person that set up modern tiki for America, and he developed this drink during World War II. So it has 2 rums.
Okay.
It has an agricole, which is a rum that's not based on molasses. It's based on actual sugarcane syrup. Molasses is the byproduct of making sugar from either sugarcane or from sugar beets or something like that. And they use the molasses when it's all done after they've taken the sugar crystal out, and then they ferment that and or distill that and make rum. But the fresh sugar cane makes kind of this style of...
Okay.
And it has a little more kind of a grassy flavor. So we're going to put that in there. We're going to use 1 part this.
Okay.
And then we're going to use a blended rum. I think that I brought... We'll use Appleton again. I like Appleton. But you can use any blended, aged blended rum.
Speaking of blended aged rum, I do just have to say Code Rum came out with a delicious new one called, I think it's called Commodore's Cut. I may be mistaken. But anyway, I actually haven't tried it yet, but I'm very excited. I hear it's delicious, and it's limited edition, so check it out on their website at thecoderum.com.
Yummy. Yeah, we just got down here, so I'm looking forward to trying all the
local stuff.
Florida-based drinks.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. I brought a Florida-based orange liqueur.
I saw that. Yes.
Now the 3 dots and a dash has orange juice in it, but sometimes I'll punch it up with a little orange liqueur as well. I think tonight we'll just use orange. Now, of course, it has Flairn.
Of course.
Of tonight. So I'm going to put a half a pour of Flairnum in this.
Okay.
And I brought an allspice ram. And like I said, this is an overproofed rum with just allspice berries. You can buy them at any store. You put them in there. That's how I make spice rum. There's a couple of things in it. Allspice is a berry that has a seed. And so I've made this. And I put a little cinnamon in it. I let it steep for about 10 or 12 days. And it can be spicy, so you have to be careful. I'm going to put about a half a pour in this. It really kind of punches up that spicy flavor to it.
All right, sounds good.
Now it has orange juice and lime juice in it. So I'm going to pour orange juice. I'm going to do a full shot of orange juice.
Okay.
Now you could, like I said, if you're just an alcoholic, you could use an orange liqueur, but I'm going to use orange juice tonight for us.
Okay.
A lime juice, and it has a honey syrup. Now the honey syrup is half honey, half water. That's all you do.
Okay.
What I've done when I've made my dram, because I only use it for this cocktail, I've included my half honey, half water as part of this thing, so it just kind of streamlines my process.
Yeah.
So I've already done my honey
Makes
extract.
it easy.
And then I'm gonna do I'm gonna stir it with a little bit of ice,
Okay.
cool it down. As many say, ice melt is an important component of any deal, of any cocktail. I'm gonna pour it off. And of course, I have a garnish for this as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
So is it something to do with 3 dots and a dash?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Now, I brought maraschino cherries, which some may think is a faux pas. Now, the 3 dots are the cherries and the pineapple
so
dash.
clever.
And is the, you know what? A classic one would have brandied, you know what? So.
Lovely.
And the last but not least, the coup de grace.
Oh,
I'm
a
gonna put
little bitters.
a little bitters, and I'm going to use an orange bitters on this
Okay.
case. You can go nowadays and buy a bitters in almost every flavor.
Yes, that's true.
So, and it does, and like I said, we talked about complexity of flavor. It really does add a little bit of a flavor to it. So,
All right.
cha-ching, like a
3
classic.
dots and a dash.
Here we go.
To victory.
To victory. You can taste that spice in it, right?
Yeah. That's really good.
It's one of those cocktails that you can sip on.
I was just going to say that. You can just sip and savor it. It's
like
really
it,
good.
yeah.
All right, so John, now is when I take the reins of bartending
Oh my
for our
gosh.
test
I
drink
love it. I can't
segment, and I'm not going to make any promises.
Mm.
Tiki drinks are not my specialty, but I'm going to give it a shot tonight.
Shall we change places?
Yes,
Let's
I will. I will do a little switchies with
I
you.
love it.
All right. So, running out of glasses here, man. All right, I'll use this glass
I love it.
for fun.
A classic hurricane.
All right, I'm gonna pour this.
Please. Pour away. Oh,
in
you missed
there.
my glass.
Ah.
I don't know
Sorry.
how that happened.
Okay, so we're going to start out by, this is always difficult to get the ice out at the end. I'll just let you savor your drink there. So you're gonna, of course, start with your glass of ice.
Very important.
And then we're gonna be using rum from our friends Code Rum.
I love it.
Keep to the code. And we're gonna be doing a mango Mai Tai, actually. And you know what? I'm gonna switch out my ice bucket real quick so that I can put ice in our cup here. I always like to start out with the base layer of ice before I do any mixing. Okay, so we're gonna do, I'm gonna be tempted to pour it into there if it's in front of me.
Straight into the glass.
So since I'm just making one for you, since I ran out of glass,
Yeah,
I'm
I'll share
gonna
with you.
do one shot of that.
I'll have the
I have a
martini
tendency
glass.
to like clean up as I go along, so don't mind me.
I screwed it.
And then we're going to do another shot. Oh, are we going to do? Okay.
Yeah, we should share
All right.
it together.
All right. So then we're going to do a shot of our spiced rum from Code Rum,
Yummy.
and of course I'm doing 2 shots since we're making
Drinking
2
together.
drinks. We're drinking together. All right.
It's already full, folks.
A lot goes into this. All right,
Yeah.
then we're going to do a little splash of orange juice. I'm not even going to measure it. I know I said that I measure
Well,
everything,
no
but
pros, no.
I'm doing a little by sight here. And then I'm going to use a little of your orange liqueur.
Please do, yeah. This is fabulous. I really like it.
Made in St. Petersburg.
Right from
We
St.
love local. And then I'm going to do about a ½ ounce of this. And we're already filled to the top, ladies and gentlemen.
I get a straw and just...
I have a spoon somewhere. All right. I'm very nervous, I have to say, because you're like the...
I'm staring at it, of course.
I know, and I need a little lime juice,
Very important.
but I'm running out of room, so I'm...
We can de-ice that cup.
I'm like shaking here. All right. I'm going to start chanting Eekum Bookum, Eekum Bookum.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm doing a little stir. And then...
It's looking good so far.
We'll see how it tastes. That's the real question. It can
Now,
look... And you know what?
Will this have orgeat?
Oh, shoot.
Let's do it in
I
the
forgot.
cups.
Oh, my
You've got room.
gosh.
You've got room. Put it in the cups.
the orgeat. The tiki ingredient. My
You'd
word.
be surprised.
How much do I need here? About a
Just
teaspoon.
the
All
right
right.
amount.
I'll just do a little.
Just right. Janet loves orgeat in almost everything.
Really?
Oh my gosh, she pours it in everything. She
Really?
loves it. Yeah, I would have it over cereal. I don't eat cereal. That's
Pancakes?
I wish.
Okay. I'm going to make a mess. I'm making a
I'm
mess.
going to have to talk to your bar manager.
PA Dom, you have some cleaning up to do.
I'm glad Dom showed up tonight. Keep it coming. We need a bigger mixing cup.
Ooh, I'm sweating here. I'm nervous. John is the expert. All right, I'm going to give it another little stir.
Very important.
Okay.
Very, very important.
All right, I don't have garnish. I came
Go
unprepared.
for the limes.
Okay. Should we do a squeeze?
Please. Yeah.
Okay.
Brighten it up.
Okay.
Oh, I love it, man.
Okay.
You could light it on fire as you're squeezing it.
I don't have any matches with me.
Not since Marilyn
I know.
Monroe died, at least, right?
That's all right.
It's good, yeah. I can taste that.
Yeah.
I can taste the mango for sure. It's delicious.
Yeah, the mango is good.
Very nice.
All right, not as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, I was confident in it, but I was nervous because you're just such an expert in the tiki drink world.
I've drank a lot of drinks.
Is it better than the one you had today?
It is better than
Okay, good,
yeah,
good.
for sure.
As long, oh, forgot to garnish with my orchids over there.
Next time.
Next time. So that is all the drinks we have for you tonight on the season 2 finale of Mix and Mingle. Thank you for tuning in, and a big thank you to our sponsor, Code Rum, for making the delicious mango rum and spice rum that we consumed this evening. Keep to the code. A big thank you and cheers, where's my drink here, to the VPN Foundation for making this show possible. A big thank you and cheers to our producer, Vaughn Reed. And big thank you and cheers to John Mulder.
I enjoy being here.
Eekum
Thank you
Bookum.
so much for having me.
Before we go, please tell our audience how they can go about checking out your business. Do you have a website that you can guide them to, or?
Oh, just eekumbookum.com. Yeah, you can find this anywhere.
All right. Common spelling of Eekum Bookum.
It's I know, it's so hard. It's EEKUMBOOKUM. Yeah. Like I said, I couldn't spell when I made it.
It works for me. So, also, please drink responsibly. If you're going out and drinking, please take an Uber, Lyft, call a sober friend, or walk or bike. Be careful with biking, though. That's the one that's kind of on the verge.
They still think it's drinking and driving.
You're operating a
I have a
vehicle of
bell.
sorts. Well, you can at least warn the person before you're about to hit them, I
That's
guess.
Exactly right.
So go ahead and be sure to tune in next season. Season 3 will be starting February 13th. We'll be back strong as ever. And a big thank you to all of you, and cheers for tuning in. Happy New Year, everyone.
2018, awesome.
Oh, and John is going to play us out with his
I don't know any
ukulele.
music.
Please, please. I knew we were forgetting something.
The end.
I was doing my hula.